Real Housewives of Potomac star Dr. Wendy Osefo has been fired. The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, what is going on? Have they just become some trad wives? What in the hunting wives is going on over at Us Weekly? We have Olivia Nuzzi, who is writing a whole book about her affair with RFK Jr. Kim Kardashian is serving some bush and opening up about her marriage to Kanye West. We had an explosive night on Dancing with the Stars, and Judge Lyman is not happy with Blake's legal team. Let's get into all of it. This is No Filter. This is No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, serve fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. What's up, everybody in the club? What's going on? How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Holla, a dollar makes me holla, a dollar. A dollar makes me holla. A dollar makes me holla. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. I hope you get what today? I hope you get hump today. Hey. Hi, guys. So much to dive into. I was listening to Kim Kardashian's interview on Call Her Daddy this morning, and it's actually really good. Alex Cooper isn't always my favorite interviewer. Lots of respect to her business and what she's built, but just as an interviewer, she's not always my favorite. Like, she's had like Lisa Vanderpump on, and like she had no idea who Lisa Vanderpump was. She had no history of Housewives. Like, sometimes I feel like people just book who they think is going to be like popular on her show, and there's not a genuine interest. And I'm kind of, as somebody that like watched and loves Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and somebody that like loved the Kardashians and keeping up on for all the early seasons, you know, there are just certain things where you're just like, okay, she knows that there's a popular meme or a gif, and so she's kind of leaning into that. But I will say, even though she's not my favorite interviewer, this was a great interview. Kim gives so much. I love these long form podcast interviews because I just feel like it. Hi, Shannon Spanks. I just feel on X, watching live on X. I just feel like, I don't know, but the interview is really good. I do recommend it. Kim K all day. It's a good interview, and Kim, she's really open and honest about her relationship with Kanye. She's asked like about co-parenting, and she's just like, well, what do you think it's like co-parenting with Kanye West? It's not easy. She says that she's never kept the kids from him. She hates the narrative that he puts out about her keeping the kids from him. She's like, no, anytime he asks to see them, he's more than welcome to see them. He's in another country and wants to see them. She lets the kids go off and go spend time with him, you know, whenever he wants. But she says they haven't really heard from him directly in months. So it just kind of seems like he's off doing his own thing. And she said that at the end of their marriage, like things just became really unstable, which is unfortunate. And she says, like, you know, one day she would wake up and like he would give all their cars away to all of his friends. He'd be like, they would, you know, she's like, we went and we were collecting Lamborghinis. She's like, we were collecting Lambos. And then one day he just went and gave them all to his friends. She's like, I buy a new Lambo, and then the next morning it might not be there anymore because he's just giving stuff away to people, and he doesn't consult with me, and he doesn't talk to me about these things. He just does these things, and there was no stability left in their marriage. And I get it, you know, it's kind of, it's kind of crazy, kind of crazy. But I haven't finished the full interview yet, but it is a good one. I've been listening to a lot of Cheryl Hines interviews lately because she has her new book coming out, and I told everybody that that's going to be our new book club for November. November's book club is going to be Cheryl Hines's Unscripted. That's the name of her new book. It comes out in November, and that will be our November book club. So I'm looking forward to that. The 107 Days Kamala Harris book club, the bonus episode, is up and available now for you to listen on No Filter All Access. So you can sign into your Supercast account online, or if you've connected it to your Spotify or Apple, that's available. So you can listen to that, since I know there are a few people that missed our Zoom, but I've always made it very clear for members only. Our Zooms will not be recorded because I do encourage people to get on camera and to get on mic and to talk and share. And so I don't want anyone to feel like I'm trying to monetize off of their image in any way. Our Zooms are just like private kikis, right? Private FaceTime where we can chill and chat and, you know, talk some smack, have a cocktail, and just like have a live, unfiltered conversation and not worry about it living on the internet anywhere else. So Zooms will not be recorded. That is a hard line, just because, again, people are getting on camera and on audio if they want to. Some people just come in and listen. It's totally your prerogative, but I will make sure we have those bonus episodes so you can get the full book club recap that is available now on No Filter All Access. And I think moving forward, that's what we'll do. I'll upload the episode, I'll upload the book review and recap so that you can listen to it ahead of time. And then I'll schedule the Zoom so you can listen to it. And then if you're available to join and discuss, you're more than welcome to join and discuss. Also, quick Blake Lively update. So it looks like Judge Lyman, he ain't too happy about this audio. Remember, there's this audio that was recorded of Steve Sarowitz, and Blake Lively is using that to say that it's that there's a comment in it that he makes about, I think he says something about like, I'll protect the studio the same way Israel is protecting, or the same way Israel's protecting itself from Gaza, or something to that degree. I don't remember the exact phrasing that Sarowitz used, but that's where Blake Lively made it clear that, like, oh, look at this is Steve Sarowitz saying he's going to come after me. This is retaliation. He said this on this hidden audio that was secretly recorded. And so the audio recording is referenced and the judge ordered it to be unsealed. However, with the way the court docket system works, you can't really make an audio file available on the docket because it's like a digital audio file. And I guess technology is just not caught up there with the Southern District of New York, the courts. So the judge has ordered, as of this morning, he's ordered that the parties are directed to file a joint letter by October 17, updating the court with respect to efforts to make the audio files public. The court requests the parties' assistance in publicly releasing the audio file. So now that it's been unsealed, the judge says, all right, release the audio, because the Wayfair parties are like, we want the audio released. We want people to hear it so that they can hear the full context and they can realize that how Blake Lively is, using how she's crafting her narrative is not exactly, how we said what we said. Like, the context is seriously lacking. So, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So, thank you, Judge Lyman. It seems like he's like, listen, Fafo, let's get this done. Let's make it happen. Let's get the audio out there, because at this point, the public is inquiring, and they're saying that they don't get access to it. I'm sure the Wayfair parties are like, hey, TMZ, what is it, TMZ? Who's the other one? Daily Mail. They're probably hitting everybody up, and they're like, here's the audio. Publish it. All the news publications right now are hitting up the Wayfair parties and the Lively parties to tell them, like, hey, give us the audio, give us the exclusive. I'm sure people will be willing to pay for it. I don't know if you can legally do that. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure if you legally are allowed to sell that, but I would imagine that there will be some sort of fun. Okay, let's switch over to some Real Housewives news. Dun, dun, dun. Dr. Wendy Osefo has been fired. She was, I guess, hosting a class at Wesleyan University. I believe that's in Connecticut. She was hosting a class there, and what was the name of it? It was like this reality TV, colorism and racism. It was some university class that she was teaching about reality TV and the impact of women and all. I mean, it's one of those. It was one of those woke classes, and the structure of women in positions of entertainment, and the network's responsibility and portrayal of women and colorism and all that sort of stuff. She was teaching that at this university, and ever since she got arrested for all of the fraud charges that have been brought against her and her husband, Happy Eddie, It appears she will no longer be teaching that course. Students got an email this week that said, dun, 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 your teacher is no longer going to be doing this. Your teacher is no longer going to be teaching. It's called The Sociology of Reality TV, Race, Colorism, and Xenophobia. The course will explore the ways in which reality TV can help us reflect on different social identifiers such as race, skin complexion, and ethnicity operate within American culture. For many, reality TV can be easily dismissed as a guilty pleasure, escapism, or trashy. While reality television can be labeled as an innocuous pastime, its importance and impact in American culture cannot be overlooked or denied. Moreover, the way the form of entertainment reflects American behaviors and shapes or reaffirms thinking within our society around sociological disruptors like race and culture should be studied. Through a critical lens, we will delve into the ways this genre of television portrays women of color and the audiences who watch reality TV, and whether responsibility exists on the networks who help create these shows. What responsibility on the networks? The responsibility should be on the women who are choosing to live their lives on these shows. Like, hey, don't be a criminal. It's really not that hard, right? Just kind of rich when you want to talk about the portrayal of women of color on television, and then you go off and are defrauding. And I mean, listen, the case against them sounds pretty strong. They've found the stores that they purchased luxury items from that were returned, and they got full refunds for those products, some of which were years old. I think there was like a 2018 wallet or a belt that Eddie got, and he had returned it. And now here we are in 2025, and they're saying that that wallet was stolen. And when investigators looked into that, they found out that the wallet was returned for a full refund. So these were luxury items that were collected over the course of years. Furthermore, there was an email of Eddie trying to list as many, where he states that he's trying to list as many items as possible so that they can hit their, I think it was $450,000 minimum for an insurance claim. He reported the same item stolen to multiple different insurance companies. So not looking good. And obviously you have to disclose that. And he never disclosed that to the multiple insurance companies that he had reported things missing. And there was like one where he told one insurance company he filed a claim with them for a missing ring, even though there had already been a payout from a different insurance company over that same ring. And I believe that was the same ring that Wendy was caught wearing a couple months or a while after the burglary. Sheriff's Department has already come out against them, saying they don't believe their story. They had a Ring camera, but nothing was captured on the Ring camera. They claimed that the burglar must have gotten through the window, but police said there was no evidence of anybody coming in and, stepping in the window and onto the toilet. Like, there were no footprints, there were no track marks. And even the police were like, yeah, we don't think that the burglar went and swept up their mess. So Dr. Wendy, as of right now, appears to still be employed by Bravo and Real Housewives of Potomac, but she is no longer going to be teaching at Wesleyan University. Dun, dun, dun. So I don't know who's going to end up teaching the sociology of reality TV, race, colorism, and xenophobia, but, I'm sure the world's really going to be a real disservice now that criminal Wendy is no longer teaching this course. Dun, dun, dun. All right, let's take a quick ad break, and then, Tea with Tempo said, plus it was a second-story bathroom. That's right. I know that's right. Okay, let's take a quick break, and then we will get back to all of the tea. Fall always feels like a reset. Am I right? Between back to school, busier routines, shorter days, finding time to cook can be tough, right? That's why I love Factor. Their chef-prepped, dietitian-approved meals make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious, no matter how hectic the season can get. You can choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost, and they can help you stay on track with your goals. So whether that's a GLP-1 friendly meal or a Mediterranean diet option, they have both. Or like for me, I'm trying to pack in my protein. I need to hit those macros. And now I can rely on Factor. It's so hard going from, podcast taping to event and walking the dogs, and I'm constantly on the go. So sometimes the last thing I want to do is come home and cook. So I like that I can just go into my fridge, get out a Factor meal, pop it in the microwave, and boom, it's ready in just a couple minutes, and it's delicious, and I can still track my macros, stay on track, get those fitness goals in. So If you want to try Factor, you can eat smart at factormeals.com/nofilter50off and use the code nofilter50off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's a whole year of free breakfast. That's code nofilter50off, nofilter50off at factormeals.com/nofilter50off for 50% off your first box plus 1 year of free breakfast. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. Offer only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Listen, I still love a good night out, but I'm not always in the mood to drink anymore. Luckily, I found a great alternative, and that's Sol's Out of Office Gummies. They give you that same light, happy buzz without the hangover. There's no sugar, and you're definitely not left with an awkward next morning. Sol is a wellness brand that believes feeling good should be fun and easy. Sol specializes in delicious hemp-derived THC and CBD products designed to boost your mood and help you unwind. Their best-selling Out of Office Gummies were designed to provide a mild, relaxing buzz, boost your mood, and enhance creativity and relaxation. With 5 different strains, you can tailor the dose to fit your vibe, from a gentle 1.5 milligram microdose to their newest 15 milligram gummy for a more elevated experience. You know what I'm saying? I love a good vibe. I love a good, whether it's an evening or it's a weekend, especially in the summer, bring on the good vibes and treat yourself to Sol today. Right now, Sol is offering my audience, that's you right now, listening or watching this, 30% off your entire order. That's 30% off. Go to getsol.com and use the code NOFILTER. That's getsol, S-O-U-L, getsol.com, and use the promo code NOFILTER for 30% off. Alrighty. Let's see. Let's talk. Okay, so let's talk about the Real Housewives now that Dr. Wendy, she's fired. Okay, nothing new there, but let's talk about the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, because they just did this whole photo spread for who was it? The Us Weekly. And you know what? Props to Us Weekly. They did a very fab job of like making these women look hot in their bikinis. So here, this is the main cover image, and it doesn't show all of them, but it shows Lisa Barlow, Meredith Marks, Heather Gay, Mary Cosby, and Whitney Rose. I'm assuming because those are the 5 OGs. Also in the shoot was Bronwyn and Angie K, but they just weren't the centerfolds. And so they look incredible. The theme at first, I was kind of like, what is going on? Are we embracing like trad wife life? Like, it looks like this is a promotion for season 2 of Hunting Wives, right? Like hot, conservative, trad wife women that, you know, love Jesus, but also love a martini and love to walk around in their little bikinis. And so at first I was very confused as to what the theme of this photo shoot was, but I guess it turns out it's like it's a nod to the original Desperate Housewives theme, which I thought, oh, okay, kind of made a little more sense. And from that point, I was like, okay, well, this, I guess, is kind of cute now that there's actual context behind it. But I also wasn't a big Desperate Housewives fan. I don't think I've ever seen Desperate Housewives, to be honest with you. And so I would have never put these pieces together. But this is a post from, what is it, Bravo by Gaze, posted, and is out here, you know, making these ladies look hot, hot, hot. So it's a direct nod to, I mean, I feel like Desperate Housewives is also kind of like a back in the day show that I didn't realize we were still gonna make a nod to them, but they still very much, like the actual cover photo, they have Meredith, who's like channeling Eva Longoria. They have Heather Gay, who's serving Cooch. The Heather Gay one is really interesting because the way that she's posed with her hand, I put my hand up on my hip, you watch it dip, he dip, we dip. But like the way that her outfit is and her Cooch is just like out on full display. Yeah. It's just, it's interesting. Mary said, I'm not wearing a bikini. She's like, nope, I'm not doing that. So they put Mary in like a really cute powder blue dress. Interesting. Oh, you know what? So this is the original Vanity Fair iconic cover that the women did. So they just recreated it with the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And obviously each of them is dressed as a direct nod to each of the different, Felicity Huffman, Eva Longoria, like direct nod to each of the women in the original Vanity Fair shoot. But it's interesting that down here in the bottom, Vanity Fair had a whole dedicated piece to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., how Washington, what does it say? How Washington is, I have it on my phone here. How Washington poisoned TV news. Wow, how much our culture has shifted. What a time. This was in 2005, it looks like, was this original Vanity Fair shoot. And it's just crazy that in the corner under the heel, you can see how Robert F. Kennedy Jr., how Washington poisoned TV news. What a whole trajectory that has taken on, right? It's interesting watching Cheryl Hines do her book tour right now. I do kind of feel for her because I feel like she's taking a lot of punches in defense of her husband. But what an interesting time. I mean, the ladies look hot, not gonna lie. They have their tea and they're baking and they're trying to do, it looks like, I don't know if Heather and Meredith are holding like diamonds or jewels or panties. I don't know what that is. But listen, they look hot. I was confused by the theme. Thank you to Bravo by Gaze for breaking down the nod that this was, because it did kind of reference Desperate Housewives. But again, I never watched the show and I never was that familiar with any of this stuff. But yeah, it's about how as adults, Zillow has become our corn on the cob. Interesting. Teresa says, just saw the latest episode. The insults are top tier. Who's the soup man? I haven't seen it, but I keep seeing clips from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City this week. And Lisa Barlow is getting mad at Angie Kane. She's like, what about Soup Man? What about Soup Man? And then Angie Kane's like, what about soup? I don't know anybody that sells soup. I don't even know anybody that eats soup. What is soup? Am I on a soup cleanse? I'm just like, Angie K, you are doing the most. You know exactly who Soup Man is. You know exactly who Lisa Barlow is referencing with Soup Man. Soup Man. But yeah, speaking of what do you call it? Of RFK, there's a new book that is going to be coming out. So this is breaking news according to the New York Post. Olivia Nuzzi to release book detailing sexting affair with married RFK Jr. The New York Post reports sexting scribe Olivia Nuzzi is reportedly penning a book about her secret racy digital relationship with married Secretary of Health Robert F. Kennedy Jr. The 32-year-old Vanity Fair editor is said to be dishing on her year-long chats with Kennedy, 71, for a book being published sometime next year, according to Status. Link in bio. And the photo they use of her is by Emilio Madrid for Getty. I mean, it's so interesting that you can. I just don't get it. I keep thinking of. Did you guys watch Celebrity Apprentice when Joan Rivers was on? And she was like, "You're a poker player, a poker player. That's beyond white trash." Well, that's how I feel. I'm like, okay, so Olivia Nuzzi is penning a book about her sexting affair with RFK Jr. What, you send a dude a picture of your tits and suddenly you land a book deal? Imagine starting off as an editor for Vanity Fair and then you just end up being a knockoff half-baked Monica Lewinsky. Come on, Olivia. All you got was a little sexting, a little naughty text messages. Is this really considered like cheating? A sexting scandal where it's really just like, ooh, your tits look so good today. Well, I don't know what the text messages said, but like at first we thought like, oh my God, it was like a full-on affair and they were cheating. But now it turns out it was just a sexting scandal and what they exchanged text messages for a year-ish. RFK has denied the affair, but I mean, we do know he does have a wandering eye, and he has a history of, being a bit of a philanderer. But I mean, come on, is this really book worthy? Like 107 days was a lot to get through, right? Because it went through is that what we're going to do here? We're going to go through every single day of the sexting affair. Today, he ghosted me. 104 days until the affair was outed. Today, I sent him a picture of some underwear that I bought at Victoria's Secret, and I told him, I know Victoria's Secret. Can you guess? Dun, dun, dun. So, I don't know. RFK's wife was on The View yesterday, and they took it easy on her. I actually disagree. They did not take it easy on her. They didn't really. What did you want her to say is the thing. Like, what do you want? Like, I don't understand. I also feel like Cheryl was invited on The View for them to kind of beat her up. I watched the clips, and they kind of just were like laying into her. They're like, your husband's not a doctor. How do you feel about the misinformation that he's putting out there? And it's just like, one, I believe she was there to talk about and promote her book. And listen, she's been very honest that this is a tough thing for her. She didn't expect her husband to go into politics when she married him. And the thing is, when it comes to the suggestions that RFK is making, he doesn't pull these things out of thin air. He gets this information from studies like the Harvard study that brought forth the conversation about Tylenol. There's actual science that is behind this stuff. There are doctors, there are scientists, and there are researchers that are behind this. You know how I know that? Because all of the things that RFK is saying, he's been saying them for the last 20 years because he's been listening to the granola autism moms, the moms whose children had some sort of visceral reaction or developmental delay that happened when their babies were in normal developing stages. And you know, I know this information because in working with RFK for many years, and working with Jenny McCarthy for many years, because I have a great friendship with Jenny. I think we've known each other. I was 17 when I met her, so for about 15 years now. I was like 16 or 17. And we hosted one of the largest national autism conferences in the country. We would host a 3-day conference in Texas, in Dallas, Texas, every year. I think we did it from 2014 to 2018. We produced 5 annual conferences, 3 days, where we brought together some of the country's best researchers, experts, doctors, scientists. We had a whole medical advisory board. The issue, now you're going to get me pissed off. The issue is that people don't want to hear from the experts. They want to hear from the experts that validate whatever their political dogma says that should be validated. That's the reality. That's why in 2020, when all those doctors and scientists and researchers were getting banned from YouTube because they were going against what Dr. Fauci said, and now everybody wants to come out and be like, well, we didn't know any better. We didn't know any better. We were learning. Fuck all the way off. Some people did know better. There were doctors and experts that did know better and were trying to warn the American people, and they were shut down. They were trying to say that there was no efficacy to the masks, all right? And as much as, you know, Jennifer Garner's daughter wants to go before the UN and say that we should have a worldwide mask mandate 24/7 to protect people from COVID, like it's so insanely ridiculous. We have broken people's brains. There were a number of doctors and scientists and experts and researchers that were all saying this. And if you went against the Biden administration's political dogma, then you were immediately deplatformed and shut down, as was RFK at that time, when he was shut down by Facebook and he was deplatformed, and he went and tried to fight them for it, only to now find out that the Biden administration was encouraging people to shut these conversations down. There was no we didn't know better. It's we could have done better, but we chose not to. We decided we wanted to lean into the fascism and the authoritarian regime that was shutting people down on public platforms, that was not allowing for scientists and doctors to be voices in, and listen, this goes deeper, right? At the time, I was writing for a big publication, and I was writing an article about my experience with an eating disorder and the benefits of not weighing myself. And they were like, this is a great story. This is a great angle. Talk about that. But we want you to get a doctor, an MD, to be quoted in your article, to, you know, encourage, to give some sort of medical backing to encourage this. Like, you have your experience, have an expert weigh in and see how they feel, and then put the article together. So I did. And there was a doctor. She was an MD, very smart, worked with her. She did one of the conferences that I helped produce. And the reason I went to her is because one of her specialties was in hormone balancing. Her name is Dr. Jess Petros, okay? Petros, Dr. Jess Petros. And Dr. Jess was incredible, had an incredible platform, specialized in weight loss, specialized in women's hormones, specialized in menopause, all of that stuff. And so I was like, oh, she would be great to talk about weight loss and, you know, mental health, physical health, all of that stuff, big talking points in her content. And so medical doctor, degree and all, went to her, got her to give me quotes about the benefits of not weighing yourself, whatever, right? Finished the whole story, send it to the editor, big publication, mind you, big magazine. Send it to my editor, and I was like, okay, here's my article. They look into it. They look at Dr. Jess. They go onto her Instagram, and she had done a post. This was 2020, at late 2020, maybe 2021. I'm not entirely sure the exact year, but it was around that time. It was definitely COVID era. And I want to say it may have been like fall of 2020. And she had raised questions about the efficacy of those little paper masks that everybody was going around wearing, because on the box, it even says it doesn't prevent viral particles, like it doesn't prevent any viruses from being spread. And so Dr. Jess, being a medical professional and a doctor, gave her medical expert opinion and said, yeah, I don't think that those little paper mask thingies are that effective. They're just not. Like, you know, it may provide some like illusion of a safeguard, but they are not effective. They're not. They can prevent bacterial particles, but when it comes to viral particles, they were not effective, especially not how often people were putting them on and off and throwing them in their car. And like, it was bad science. It was bad advice. And she, as a doctor, gave her medical opinion on her Instagram account. Okay. The publication made me remove her from the article because they didn't believe her position on masks at the time. Okay. So you have an editor, a, you know, food and weight loss or health, whatever he was, you have an editor, and then you have a medical doctor. And the editor said, we're not going to give this doctor a platform on a topic that she's very well versed in when it comes to weight loss, but we don't want to hear her opinion about weight loss because we saw that she didn't endorse mask mandates. That's how fucked up and crazy the mainstream media actually is. You have an editor that will not give this woman a platform, which, hello, talk about shutting down a woman, didn't give this woman a platform to talk about something that she actually knows about because they disagreed. Their personal opinion disagreed with her expert opinion as a doctor. Okay? So there you go. There you go. So when you talk about how they were too easy on Cheryl Hines, what did you want her to? Would you want them to beat Cheryl Hines up because now we like when you tear down women on The View? I'm sorry, The View is one big circle jerk of all these women, basically for the most part, kind of parroting their own similar opinions that doesn't really have much discourse. You don't have a variety of opinions. There's a reason why the two women that are supposedly Republican on that panel are considered fake Republicans. You don't even have anybody that's like a pro-Trump or pro-RFK person on that panel. Every single woman in those seats is absolutely against the current administration, which, guess what, does not actually reflect the views of women in our country, because more than half of our country decided to vote for Donald Trump. So that's kind of the reality. You don't have a variety of views. You have one view that's maybe a little skewed this way and that way. And so we have these little slight differences that we'll fight about. But for the most part, we're all going to parrot the same bullshit. So no, I thought it was, I didn't think Cheryl held herself the best. I'll say that. She could have been better in her interview. She could have been more prepped, considering they were going to be asking her these questions. But also at the same time, like, it's not her responsibility to talk about these things. Her husband is the head of, you know, the health services in our country. And, you know, I think she did a fabulous job of them saying, well, he's not a doctor. He's not an expert. And she's like, well, actually, 90% of the people that held HHS in the past were not doctors. 90% of them were not doctors. There was an economist that ran that position during the during the Obama administration, rather. So no, you don't have to be an expert. But here's the thing: RFK and Trump aren't pulling this shit out of their asses, just like the Tylenol. It was referenced in the Harvard study and multiple other studies. Remember, we brought them up and I showed you all 9 of the different pieces that were referenced, because this is a conversation that's been happening for many, many years. The Tylenol conversation is a 2-decade-old conversation. And when you get into the actual studies, none of them say that autism is caused by Tylenol. Okay. It goes into the Tylenol depleting glutathione levels, which then affects the baby, and then the baby's ability to detox a lot of these harsh chemicals that are now in our environment. It becomes a lot harder. So there's a link, and the link should probably be explored more, but I think there are multiple influences that can lead to autism. It's really not that hard to understand unless you don't want to understand it. And that's the reality, is most people don't want to understand these things. Most people don't want to dive in depth. They don't want to learn any more about it. They want to know what the Democratic Party tells them, and then they just leave it there. And they're like, I believe in science. I trust the science. It's like, no, actually, science is evolutionary, right? At one point, the science told us that the earth was flat. At one point, science told us that cigarettes were healthy for us. At one point, science said that, drinking a glass of wine while you're pregnant can actually be beneficial. Science has said a lot of things that have proven to not be true. Because guess what? The whole premise of science is not fact. Math is fact. 2 + 2 is always going to equal 4. But science, on the other hand, is meant to be poked and prodded and questioned. And we've gotten into this very dangerous territory where we're no longer allowed to question the science. But that is the entire premise of science. It is theory and hypotheses. A hypothesis isn't a final conclusion. A theory is not a fact. It is a theory. And the point of science is to poke and prod at that theory and question it and continue to question it until you find better, deeper answers. That is the fucking point of science. And so I'm so tired of people being like, trust the science. I blame the science. Fuck off. You're not even a scientist and you think you know science more than other people. Don't be afraid of experts with different opinions. Be willing to listen to both experts on both sides of the conversation, understand where they're coming from, and then use your own critical thinking skills to come to a conclusion of your own. It's really not that hard when you use a brain. That's what we're given. God gave us a brain, and sometimes I think we should use it a little more. But people, again, would rather have their political dogma validated and then use their talking points. I got this vaccine not for me, but for you. I'm protecting you. Bitch, I don't need your protection. I'm good. I got Jesus. I'm good. Damn, got me all fired up. All because you wanted to come for Cheryl Hines on The View. Leave that lady alone. She's not a scientist. She's not a doctor. She's an actress who had her whole world and career upended because her husband decided he was going to get into politics, and she loved the man. That's as deep as it goes. And then we have Olivia Nuzzi, who's out here trying to be like, ooh, I'd send him a photo of my tits. Listen to me. Here's my book. MC Highlight says, got here just in time. Zack is fired up. I wasn't even trying to get fired up. I was actually very calm and very peaceful. And then people are like, and T with Tambo's like, they should have beat up Cheryl Hines more. Why? Because her husband listened to some experts and brought forth a study about Tylenol, or he's getting into the side effects of COVID of COVID vaccines that nobody wanted to talk about in 2020 or 2021. Listen, I'll say that was one thing that I don't know if I'm torn about Operation Warp Speed. I don't know how I feel about that because it was untested and it was kind of a risky new science that Trump brought forth. And I didn't love that because there wasn't any long-term testing or efficacy. And then people wanted to silence the whole conversation about myocarditis and the heart issues that young men were starting to face at an earlier age after getting the shot. And then we learned that, at first they said that you transmit it, and then if you got the shot, and then that wasn't true, and then they're like, well, but then you just won't get it so bad, and then that wasn't, and then the narrative came, well, but you won't die of COVID if you get the shot, and it was just like it was all ridiculous. It was an experimental drug that we should have been able to question, that we should have had a deeper conversation about, that I'm glad we're getting more clarity and answers on now. Jesus. Kinney says, heaven forbid someone tried to find out what is causing some of these health issues. Exactly. That's why I'm like, do you know how many people were ran the Department of HHS and or held that office and allowed our system to continue to get fucked up, that didn't clean up our food, that didn't take these chemicals out of these vaccines, environmental products, household products. Like, they didn't do anything to help make our country any healthier. And the fact that now we have somebody that's doing this, like, that's where I'm kind of like, okay, listen, it's not a bad thing that we're having these conversations. It's a bad thing when we shut down these conversations and have a moral superiority and think that we're somehow better. Mamma mia. Okay, let's talk about something lighter. Do we want to talk about Kim Kardashian's Bush or Dancing with the Stars dedication night? This is why I'm glad that moving forward, we're going to be segmenting out our shows. We're going to start that next week. And so Mondays will be regular episodes of No Filter. Tuesdays will be our reality recap. So all the latest reality TV news. Dancing with the Stars, Housewives, all that stuff will be recapped on Tuesdays. Wednesdays will be our heavier cultural conversations like this one. Thursdays will also be regular episodes, but we'll probably have like a guest interview on Thursdays. So when I do have guest sit downs on the shows, those will be on Thursdays, along with any breaking news. And then Fridays, I think will be fun, lighthearted pop report style content. We're going to have fun segments and games. Chef Stu is going to come in on Wednesdays and he's going to be co-hosting with me on Fridays. Chef Stu is going to be joining the show on Fridays, and Sean on the right is going to be joining me on Wednesdays. And we will have a mix of other different fun guests that will be circling in and out. So Wednesdays and Fridays, we will have panels, a heavier cultural panel and a lighter fun panel on Fridays. So get ready. Erica says, I love the new show schedule and segments. I love it. I think we're going to probably mix in, I want to mix in fun graphics and do all sorts of fun stuff with it. So yeah. Danielle says, can't wait for this idea, Zack, sectioning off the episodes. Great idea at our Zoom. Thank you. Russ says, Dancing with the Stars is on Tuesday night, so it'll be a week behind if we wait until Tuesday to discuss it. Or we can do reality recaps on Thursdays. We'll just switch the days. Make Tuesday our guest interview days, and Thursday we can adjust it. So maybe we'll do that. Well, I feel like most reality shows air Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we'll do that. Reality recaps on Thursdays. Thank you, Russ. We're workshopping this together. Reality recaps every Thursday. Okay. And if there's any breaking news, obviously we'll still cover that at the top of the show regardless. But reality recaps on Thursdays, Pop Report episodes on Fridays. I'm still debating what I want to call our Wednesday episodes. Do we want to call it the No Filter Pop Off? Or I don't know. I don't want to call it anything political because I don't want it to be super politics heavy, but I think these greater cultural conversations. I think we're going to dedicate next Wednesday's episode to Taylor Swift and whether or not Taylor Swift has become MAGA, because that's the new conversation that people seem to be pushing forward with her new album. So it'll be interesting, but we'll start really segmenting everything next week. But to Russ's point, I think we'll definitely make Thursdays our reality recap days. Okay. Let's talk about Dancing with the Stars. So it was dedication week. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched Dancing with the Stars, just going to give you spoilers right now. Nobody was eliminated this week. That was the interesting spoiler, which I would imagine means 2 people will be eliminated next week. And I said, my money is on Scott from Pentatonics, Elaine from Parent Trap, and Andy Richer from the Conan show. Those are my 3 that I predict will be on the chopping block for next week. I don't know if they'll all be in the bottom 3, but one of those 3 will be eliminated next week. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Andy Richer. Pretty sure Andy Richer will be on the chopping block for sure. I just can't imagine, him having that many fans that are voting for him. But I do understand that if people wanted Hilaria off the show because she swears there's this bullying campaign against her, I get that. Okay. I'm going to say this. I know people really love Danielle Fishel. I think that she didn't really serve the best performance. I was kind of underwhelmed. I was so excited. They had so many of the Boy Meets World cast members there. Mr. Feeney was in it, but he didn't really do anything. And I feel like the Boy Meets World theme song, lame. I get it. And I like Boy Meets World. That I love nostalgia. I was very excited about this performance, but to me, it was just kind of wah, wah, wah. It didn't really give, at least in comparison to all the others. That one was just wah, wah, wah. I did like how at the end, Mr. Feeney gave her an A, because that's an iconic Topanga line where she's like, Feeney, I have 699 A's. I need one more A. Give me one A, Feeney. Give me the A. And so at the very end, he gave her the A, which I thought was really cute. And that was a fun nod and a nostalgic moment. I mean, obviously he's old as dirt, so there ain't a whole lot he could do, but Russ says it felt like Weekend at Bernie's. It was just kind of interesting. I was a little disappointed in the Boy Meets World dedication. Whitney Levitt. I don't know how people are saying this was not her best performance. I thought Whitney fucking killed it. I thought Whitney did a phenomenal job. Like, she was flipping and spinning, and we had her gay husband Connor in it, and I love her gay husband Connor. Okay, and the two of them together are just like such a cute. Like, I love them together, and the fact that she dedicated it to her gay husband Connor, I was just like, and they were like bouncing around, and Mark Ballas was like, I'm gonna keep them apart, and they're like, no, we're gonna get together, we're gonna stay together forever because we made it through everything, even the Tinder cheating scandal. So I thought Whitney definitely kills it for sure. Who else was I a little underwhelmed by? Dylan Efron. People really liked his, and he had his little sister, which I thought was cute. I didn't love his dance, nor do I think he's the best dancer. He's fine, you know. It was cute, but I think people definitely overhyped Dylan's performance, underhyped Whitney's performance, but by far, winner of the night, Crocodile Sun. I mean, oh my God, tears. Mom came out. He hugged her. He cried. He was like doing all the little dances all around. You see a little toe in the air. Like, he was doing all the things. I was like, wow, you go, Crocodile Sun. You go, Robert Irwin. Crocodile Sun has my money. Crocodile Sun's going to win the entire season. Crocodile Sun will be number one, but keep voting for him, because that's where you guys screw up, is if you don't vote. So keep voting, but that's who I think will be the top three. Crocodile Sun, Whitney Levitt in second place, and then third place, I'm predicting, is going to be Danielle Fishel. Dylan will make it far. I think Jen Affleck will make it to top 5. Yeah. But next, I think 1000% we're going to lose Andy Richer, and then Scott, and then Elaine, for sure. Russ says gay husband Connor is fine AF. Yes, he is. Gay husband Connor is fine. Fine. Christina says, gosh, I really need to get off YouTube and watch some regular TV. Well, I didn't watch regular TV. I just watched the clips on TikTok. That's usually how I watch TV these days, is I just watch clips on TikTok. So yeah, I watched their performances there. Dylan's a hottie, and I get why everybody loves Dylan, and I get why he's a fan favorite. I don't think he'll be top 3 though. Jordan's story with her dad. Yeah, I think people felt like that one was also didn't get enough credit. I just think Crocodile Sun, the Crocodile family, Crocodile Sun with his crocodile mom and the crocodile tears, like, it was so perfect. Everything about it. 10 out of 10. Sold. So yeah. There we go. Oh, let's finish off with this last final bit of news, which I'm sure you're going to be shooketh over, because Kim Kardashian and SKIMS have just launched, dun, 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 the perfect bush. That is what they are calling it. The perfect bush. And they are, is it a thong? The thong. They're, it's underwear. And it's like a G-string, but the front is literally fur. And it's like meant to, like, resemble a boosh, Kim Kardashian's boosh. I don't know who's buying. Remember when they did the one with the fake nipples? Those were kind of fun. But this is kind of like wild and wacky, and I don't know who's buying these. Like, are you going to be buying these? Are you going to be getting here, let's actually pull up the SKIMS website, and you can tell me. Kim says, get it or regret it. Like, how wild. I don't understand. I want to see somebody model these. This one's kind of gross. The black one is gross because it looks like actual, like, cooch, because they have like the fun, like the white fur and the pink fur, and then like the suede fur. Oh, it's clay brown, curly clay brown. Clay black is gross. That looks like full bush. Like these other ones, like sienna blonde, curly. Yeah, curly. The brown one, like this one, sienna brown and clay black, look like real pubic hair, and I'm not here for it. This is sienna black. Okay, sienna, no. These are fine. They're different. They're like kind of fun and sexy because they have like these red fur, whatever. But like these are gross. I don't like that. I don't like no, make it stop. Please make it stop. I can't. Freak in the sheets will eat these up and they're sold out. Are they sold out, Robin? No, they're just not on sale yet. Oh, are they sold out? It doesn't say sold out. It just says waitlist. I don't think they've officially launched yet, I think is the thing. Right? Oh, sold out the ultimate bush. You loved it. Our most daring panty yet is now officially sold out. That's crazy. They probably had like 4 of each size. And that's why they were saying sold out. It's smart. It's smart. That's what I did with my wine line. You do small batches and then it sells out and then you're like sold out and then that creates demand. It's a smart marketing tactic. I'm sure what Kylie did with her like lip kits when she first launched those. T with Tampa says Kim K is on Call Her Daddy, but I haven't an interest in watching. It's really good. I haven't finished it, but I watched most of it this morning. It's really good. August says it would be a fun 70s costume. I imagine for Halloween, people are going to be rocking these for sure. Furries may buy these 32. Hell no. It says so. I know, Robin, I saw. It's crazy. Meghan Markle tactics. Yeah, it's smart. It's just smart marketing. That keep your stance. What you are relating to most people do not understand. When you live it, you know it. When I live my bush, I was actually thinking about trimming my bush. I felt like the bush had gotten a bit bushy lately, and I was like, I feel like I need to tame the bush a little bit. Are we let that be the poll of the week? Are we pro Bush? Or are we not pro Bush? Not the president, not the Bush family. I just mean, are we pro or anti Bush? That's the question of the week. Pro Bush, anti Bush, or maybe like a little Bush, you know? Here, I'm starting the poll on YouTube so you can weigh in. I think there's a way to do a poll on Spotify too. I'm going to do that. Danielle says waxing for me. Robin says tame the bush. T with Tambo says no bush. Billy says no to the bush. Jane says no pro bush. Robin says I'm pro keeping it neat. Yeah. Well, I feel like there's a difference between women and men. You don't want a man to be bald, right? You want your man to have a little bush, but you don't want to get like teeth, like a pube stuck in your teeth. Has that ever happened to you? And you're just like, Carol says small and trim, like a landing strip, nice and tight. Okay, but for women or for men? Like men, I think it's hot to have a bush. Women, I think maybe not. T with Tambo says no bush on men either. So you want your men like fully bald eagle. You want your man to just like have nothing down there. No bush on. That's so crazy. Everybody so fresh and clean. Wow. Jane says 100% Zack, neat and clean for men. Really? Christina says, I don't even wax my eyebrows. You ladies are brave. I shave on. You shave your eyebrows? She's like, I don't wax my eyebrows. I shave only. She shaves her eyebrow. You guys, that's crazy. Robin says, for men, bush, but not sloppy. Interesting. Men should be trimmed neatly. Got it. Okay. A little bush on. Okay, so you don't mind a little bush. I don't mind a little bush on guys, Cheryl says. Okay. All right. Okay, so everybody for the most part, we have 52% of the audience so far has said a little bush, 39 say anti-bush, 10% say pro-bush. Wow, so there's a small fraction of you guys that is like pro-bush. Interesting. Danielle says she gets waxed every 2 weeks. You wax your cooch every 2 weeks? Does it get that hairy? What about laser hair removal? No hairy balls or hairy shaft. Okay, well, shaving your balls is hard, okay? Let's just put that out there. It's not very easy with, like you can use it's not, listen, I'm not that I'm pro hairy ball, but but I also don't really like balls in general. I'm just saying, and also YouTube better not flag us either, because YouTube, this is natural, this is your body, this is biology, this is science. Sometimes you can't reach the bush on a man no matter how hard you try, if you know what I mean. Huh? Sometimes you can't reach the bush on a man no matter how hard you try. Because it's so big. Well, what in the 12 inches are you bouncing on, Liza? Remember when Samantha dyed her bush? Oh, no. Why would she dye her bush? Kim K had laser hair removal down there, and now she's making bush wigs. I mean, good for her. No hairy buttholes either. See, here's the thing. In the gay community, people like hairy buttholes. People like a big porn star bush. Like, people actually enjoy that. For the gays are very different. The ladies in the live chat have very different feelings from what the gays like. I don't mind a little bush. I don't like a crazy bush. Like, tone and tame the bush, for sure. Luna says, "Y'all, I'm going to vomit." It's natural. Callie says, "Zack, there are parts of the women that are hard to get to as well." Like the butthole. MC High Life says, "Found a gray hair in her bush and she dyed it." Oh, I have plenty of gray hairs in my bush. So many gray hairs. I have gray hairs everywhere. I have gray hairs on my chest, in my bush, on my salt and pepper on the sides, in my beard, all the things. All the things. Jane says, "I'm eating lunch." What are you eating for lunch? Cooch. All right. I think this is where I leave you. All right, guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Give me a follow. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. Please go hit the like and subscribe button. Let's see. Did anybody leave any new Apple Podcast reviews? Oh, no. I don't think so. Well, please can. Oh, wait. We have one here. This is from Pina Colada, and Pina Colada says, "Garbage, 1 star. Nothing interesting and constantly repeats the same sentences over and over. MAGA cult follower. I'd rather listen to a toilet flush than this. Used to like this pod a year or two ago. Came back to check it out, and what a miss. Wonder how much he's paying for all the good reviews." How much am I paying for all the good reviews, you guys? If you've left a good review, let me know how much I paid you. How much did I Venmo you for the good reviews? Okay. I love you. I appreciate you. Continue to leave reviews on Apple Podcasts. Continue to leave your comments on Spotify. Weigh in the poll. Let's see what the final poll results are. Wow. The final poll results are in. 49% of people said a little bush. 42% said they're anti-Bush, and 9% said that they are pro-Bush. All right, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Love you, appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Tomorrow is only a day away. Ciao for now. Bye.